Yo, what's up guys, it's UndeadArtz here, and today I'm going to be doing a C4D intro tutorial. The After Effects part will be out after the C4D part, if the C4D part gets a decent amount of views and likes. Well, with that out of the way, I'm going to start the tutorial. Alright, first what you want to do is open up Cinema 4D. If you don't have that, then Google how to get Cinema 4D for free. It's simple. Alright, so once you have Cinema 4D open and you have this file, alright, you want to go to Project Settings and uncheck Linear Workflow, set the default object color to 80% gray. Alright, now you want to go over here to this little Render Settings tab. Double click that, go to the output, set the width to 1920 and the height to 1080. Alright, next what you want to do is go to anti-aliasing. Set it to best and 2x2 or 1x1, whichever one you prefer. Alright, next what you want to do is go to ray depth, set that to 6. The reflection depth, set that to 2. And the shadow depth, set that to 6. Alright, next what you want to do is right click down to this little area right here. Go to Sharpen Filter and set the strength to 15. Alright, next what you want to do is go to Color Correction, if I can find it. Set the saturation to 15%, the brightness to 5, the contrast to -12, the exposure to 0.5, and the gamma to 1.35. There, that should look pretty good. Excuse that, my phone just went off. Our next what you want to do is, well, if you don't have a Lightroom, I will be leaving the link to a free Lightroom down in the description. But if you do have a Lightroom or my Lightroom, you want to bring that Lightroom in. And for this tutorial, I'm going to be using my Lightroom. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to go bring that Lightroom in by, if you're in the lib4d file, double clicking on it. Or if you are in the Cinema 4D file, you just create the intro from there. Our next step I'm going to do is get some materials. For me, I'm going to be using my materials from my Lightroom. Shameless plug here, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to use blue too. And iron 2. No, chrome 2. Our next what you want to do is go to MoGraph, create a MoText, and see where it says line, set that to middle, make the text say test. Or whatever you want to say. For this example, I'm going to do test. Set the Z to -70. Oh no, it's the Y. Set the Y to -70. Alright, set the depth to 80. And change the font to whatever you want. The font usually takes a while for me to load because I have over 5,000. But it shouldn't be taking you that long if you have less fonts than me. Alright, it's still loading. Hopefully it loads soon. There it is. Alright, you want to go to whatever font you want to use. For this example, I think I will be using GoGoPosterPunch because, you know, why not? Who doesn't like that? If I can find it. If I have a lot of fonts. There it is. Alright, you want to go to caps. Go to fillet cap. And fillet cap. Set the radius to 2. The steps to 12. You want to copy and paste that the mode text by clicking on it, hitting Control-C and Control-V. Go to Object, set the depth to 60. Go to Z, move it back 10 by typing in 10. Go to Caps, set it to 3 or 4. I'm going to do 3. Then you have your mode text created. Next, what you want to do is go here to where this little square icon is. Right click, or not right click, create a null. Click on the first mode text, hold shift and click on the second and drag them into the null. Or if you're going to do it the way I'm going to do it, you're not going to need the null. But I'm just teaching you the basics. Alright, so if you want to get the null in the center, that way it rotates from the center, you want to click L to enable axis modification. Click on this green arrow, hold shift. Well, if it's not already basically in the center, if it's like mine is, you want to click on that blue arrow, hold shift and drag it back 40 centimeters. You should have your text centered. And hang on, let me create a camera. It should rotate like this just fine. Alright. But if you're gonna do it like I do, you don't need to worry about that, because you will be doing that later. Alright, so if you're gonna do it the way I do, which is editable text, you want to drag the texts out of the null, hit C to make them editable, open up all the texts, hit the first letter on each one, click Control, hit the second letter on the first letter on the second mode text, and hit Alt G. Double click and type T or whatever your letter is. Do the same for the rest of the letters. And once you have that done, you want to click on the first letter, go to the last letter, hold shift and click that and drag them out of the nulls. After you're done with that, you want to go to enable axis modification by hitting L or clicking the little icon. Click on all of them, select them all. See where it says position, set them all to 0. And you should need to set the Y to 40. Not the Y, the Z to 40. You should have your text centered. Now if you want to see if it's centered, you can just try and rotate every letter. After you disable axis modification, but you could try and rotate every letter. As you can see, mine does. Rotate it centered. And that's perfect for what we need. Alright, next version is gonna go to Mode, Project, and set the FPS to 60. And go into MoGraph, go down Effector. Well, yes, Effector, and go to Sound. Alright, so I'm using a song called, I don't know the name off the top of my head, let me go get it. I forgot where I put it. I put Rich Gang, I'm gonna use Rich Gang, I'm a Ride for the C4D sync. Hey, hang on, let me turn down my Cinema 4D. And if you hear the music skipping, and you don't want that to happen, you can see this little icon over here. Hold down on that and uncheck all frames. Alright, next what we're going to do is set the frame time length to 600. and you should be able to hear it. Alright, now for this way I do C4D sync, I use a program called After Effects, which you should be at least somewhat familiar to if you're going to try and do this. I almost told you to do something without telling you what it was. Alright, next what you want to do is, after you have all the text centered and stuff like that and brought the song in, go to MoGraph, create a fracture, another cloner, a fracture object, and do what you did, just select all the text and drag them into the fracture object. Go to the display and change the color to white, and uncheck it for now, because it's not really needed. And make sure it's centered too. By enabling axis modification, you should be able to center it no problem like I do. Keep in mind that you are not going to be able to edit the text after this. I don't know if I said that in the beginning, but you won't. Our next what we're going to want to do is open up After Effects. Because I'm also going to show you another thing, my style of cinema for desyncing. Alright, you go to animation, you see where it says layout over here, go to animation. Go to window, customization, not customization, yes, customization, customize commands, and see where it says add marker, or just type in marker. See where it says create marker current frame. See where it's shortcut? I set mine to star. If you don't have that, then you can set it to whatever you want. But that's just how I do it. So, yes. That's, hang on. I just rendered and it looks a little weird. Alright, try 4, -1, -5, and 0.5. It should be the same for the rest. That looks perfect. Well, not perfect, but as perfect as I'm gonna get it. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so once you have After Effects open and this little box thing pops up, right click, new composition, and make it 10 seconds at 60 FPS. And then right click, import file, go to the file location where you have your song saved. For me, it's intro stuff, desktop intro stuff songs, and then the file. Alright, after that, you want to drag the file in and double tap L. And you should be greeted with these little waveform thingies. And for example, as you can see, the first waveform is at frame 132. So if I were to type in 132 right here, it will take the thing to 132. And you will be able to create a marker with no problem. You just have to have your mouse in the little area where it is and hit star to create the marker. And you want to do this for each beat that goes like dun, dun, dun. Each bass beat. There's like those little treble cracks. Don't really worry about that. It's just like dun, 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 stuff like that. Make sure to keyframe, well, not keyframe, add a marker to that frame. Like for example, there. The next one would be 221. 222. Also one frame off, but it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be on point, but it's good enough. And you want to do this for all of the beat drops for the duration of the intro. because it's going to help you C4D sync. And it'll make your intro look better. Oh, if you're wondering how I'm going one frame at a time, it's just page up and page down on the keyboard in After Effects, but you don't need to worry about that. 351. Alright, just do it for almost all of them, except for like if you have one right before the end of the intro, then don't do that one. Don't worry about it, because it won't look good. Alright, hopefully I can get done soon. And I think I'm done. Alright, let's see if they're good in Cinema 4D. Hang on, let's see what 5. Alright, I think I made a mistake, but oh well. If you want to delete a marker, just do another one. For example, create the marker, click on this little thing, and drag it down. It should delete it. Alright, so after you've done that, you want to go to... Hang on. Yeah, I didn't miss a beat. After you do that, you want to go to Layout and Standard. It should bring you back into this layout. Alright, next what you can do is come up into this little spline options, create a circle. Alright, make sure the circle is in the center of the text. And if you wonder how I've been doing that and you haven't been watching the tutorial, you just click these little boxes over here. This is perspective view. It's what you use to animate and alright, so after you've created the circle, you want to drag the camera and make it a child of the circle and go to where the first little mark is, which I believe is frame 132. Create a keyframe for the circle and the camera. Go to frame 0, bring type R or whatever it is to get into rotation. It's R to get into rotation, and move the camera a bit back over here like this. We'll move the circle and create a keyframe. Go to, find out where the keyframe is and go 20 frames, well, roughly 20 frames before that. I think 110 is going to be fine. And when it goes to the drop, make it do a 360. And it should look pretty good to start out with. Alright, so next what you're going to do is drag the camera out at the first keyframe. Go to frame 110. drag it out some more, that way it looks like it's even faster transition. And it looks pretty good. Alright, next we're going to do is click on the fracture, go to frame 0. Click on the circle, go to frame 110, create a keyframe for all 3. We'll go to frame 0, make it negative 280. Make it negative 100, and this is on the P rotation. And you want to go to the drop and make it negative 30. Go to 5 frames before the first beat. And make it 0. Highlight all the keyframes. And uncheck clamping. And it'll make this animation look better. Alright, now let's see how it looks so far. Alright, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Alright, you want to go to the keyframe for the text. You want to see this little thing that says go to previous key. You want to click on that, click on the circle. And then go to the keyframe, move the circle some. Same for the text. You want to go to the 5 frames before it, go to the key, hold shift on the text and drag it up. Well, for some letters. And drag it down for some letters. Alright, let's see how that looks so far. Alright, so that looks pretty good. You want to go to the next keyframe. Next frame, go 5 frames before that. Highlight all the text, create a keyframe, and go to the thing. Go to chord, and set the X to 0. Not the X to Y to 0. And you should have the beginnings of a good look at C4D sync. Now let's see how that looks so far with unclamping too. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to unclamp everything. And move the camera out too. And unclamp all the keyframes on that too. Alright, so we should have a pretty good beginnings of an intro. Or you may not want to unclamp the first keyframe of that, because it does weird things with the camera. Well, yeah, you may not want to unclip all the frames of the camera. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is do the same thing for the circles that you did for the text. Hang on. Mini caps. And you should have your yes. Let's see how that looks. Or you want to unclamp that, obviously. Hang on, let's see how that looks. Alright. Alright, so you want to basically do the same thing as you did with the text, but in the opposite direction for the next keyframe. But you want to select all the text, go to the actual thing, click on the first letter, hold Control and click on the third letter. That is if you have 3 letters in your name or more. And you want to basically just do the opposite of what you did for the first beat for this beat. Set a keyframe for all the text at 5 frames before the next frame. And set the Y to 0. And unclamp them. Alright, you want to do the same thing you did for the camera on this set of beats as you did for the last set. It's basically just going to be the same, except for you won't have to sorry for the interruption, but after you want to do that, you want to go to 5 frames before the next set of frames. Go and click on the text, go to the keyframe, and move it some to the other direction. But, and then you should have a pretty good looking camera animation and text animation so far. And actually give this a second. I'm going to see how it looks unclamped. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to see how this looks clamped. That looks pretty good unclamped, but I imagine it will look better it looks pretty good clamped, but I imagine it will look better unclamped. Alright, so next what you want to do is go to the next beat, and this time we're going to do something a little different. Go 10 frames before that, which would do in this case just happen to be 420. Set the all back to 0 except for that one. Set it to 270, which is 90 on the beat. And you want to drag the text, the last letter out for 50 centimeters. And rotate it 90 degrees. Oh, first you want to go 5 frames before that. Well, you want to go 10. And actually make a keyframe for all of them. Alright. And then drag the last letter out for 50 centimeters. Rotate it 90 degrees. Keyframe it. Drag the first one out for 50 centimeters. And rotate it 90 degrees. Alright, to drag the second one out for... Drag the third one out for roughly 20. Rotate it 90 degrees and keyframe. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You want to drag the first one out 15 keyframe, like I didn't do, obviously. And keyframe it after you rotate it to 90 degrees. Go to S, drag that out 20. Rotate it 90 degrees. Keyframe it. And go to the E, drag that out 20. And rotate that 90 degrees. Alright, let's see how that looks. Alright, so the next beat. Alright, the next beat, you want to do the same thing. And keyframe the text. And the camera. Keyframe the text. Rotate it the rest of the way around. And drag it back in for the first letter 50. And the same for the last letter. And do the same for the middle two letters. And after that, you want to just rotate the circle the rest of the way around and keyframe it. Alright, let's see how that looks. Looks pretty good. Alright, so let's see how it looks. Alright, so you don't want to unclamp the circle. Alright, you may want to move the keyframes to like the last one, because if you were using the song I'm using, it's just too quick. And maybe make it 30 frames before it. Hang on, let me try something. Hang on, 2, 3. Alright, you want to do that for the circle too? Alright, so it doesn't look good. Alright, you just want to do that for the camera too. Alright, where's the keyframe for the text? Alright, you want to make sure that the circle keyframe is at the same keyframe, and it'll look just fine. Alright, it should look fine, but if you want it to look better, you gotta go to animation, and while them highlighted, go to F-curve, view snapshot, show velocity. Alright, click on the text, animation, show F-curve. Hang on, let me reload animation. And try and fix this whole bug I have. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, you may want to adjust the keyframes to be closer. Alright, where's that keyframe at now? So 439, okay. 453, okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so hopefully, well, there's still more. Alright, so you want to go to the keyframe, create a keyframe on, well, the frame thingy, and create a keyframe on the circle. And, just rotate it around the text like I did. And do the same for the camera. You want to go out of the camera view and rotate it too. That way it looks even better. Oh, I hate this. Alright, you want to move it in too. That way it looks even better for the animation. Alright, so it looks pretty good, but I can make it look better with some text rotation. I want to click on the fracture and rotate it some. Alright, that should be good. And unclamp it. Unclamp it. Alright, so it looks pretty good. Alright, so what you could do to make it better is create a helix, go to Object, set the plane to XZ, drag it down to 700, 1620, go to height and type in 1620, star key, and 2. That'll make it the height of 1620 times 2, and then go to the same one, create a circle, make the radius for that 5. Go to the NURBS tab or whatever it's called, create a sweep NURB. And drag the helix and the circle into the sweep NURB like you see me doing. Go to MoGraph Effector Cloner, create a cloner. Go to this little tab over here, create a symmetry object, drag the sweep NURBS into the symmetry object, and drag the symmetry object into the cloner. Set the cloner to radial, and set the count to 3. That way you should have some pretty good looking splines. And you can make it go with the beats. But I wouldn't, because I don't want to. I'm just gonna do it across 100 frames. Right there, that's 100 frames. So halfway through that. Halfway through that is there. You want to set the start growth to 0. And let's see what we have. To be honest, I'm not really that big of a spline maker, but I can make them. Alright, so alright, let's see if there's anything else I should do. Well, I guess help you texture it and save it. So what you want to do is open up the null objects, drag the material onto one of them, and then drag the second material onto the second one. Click on the first one, hold shift and click on the second one, set the projection to cubic, and check seamless. Hold control and drag the materials to all of the text objects, and and just basically do what I'm doing. You don't have to, but it's up to you. Our next one to do is preview render it. And I think I may have added too much brightness or something. Alright, let's see how that looks. I added too much gamma. And the reason I don't add materials towards the end is because it tends to slow it down. But since I'm adding them at the end, it doesn't really slow it down. Alright, so I'm just going to play around with my settings until I get something I like. Like that, basically. Texture the splines, which I'm going to show you how. I'm just going to drag the material on it, set it to cubic, and seamless. Alright, let's see how it looks. Alright, next what we're going to go to render settings, output, and we'll save. Go to click alpha channel, make it PNG, go to pausing project file, check them all. Save before you render. Go to Alright, and I'm just going to teach you how to create a folder, which is right click, new folder, and name it whatever you want to name it. Alright, so after that you want to click save, well not save project file, you want to go to output, all frames, and 60, not 30, because you're rendering at 60 obviously. Go to output, we'll save project file, and the same place you are going to render it. And click this little button right here to render. Now that's all I wanted to show you in this video. Now if you could do me a favor and get this video up to 15 likes again, the After Effects tutorial will be out as soon as possible. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say in this video. This is UndeadArtz, and I am out. Peace.